Hi guys, welcome back to the series on turning your book into an app. In previous videos, I've shown you a few things like how to add animations to your game app, using prefabs to duplicate certain things, and also adding page navigation to your app. A typical storybook always has text, so in this video, I'm going to show you how to add those texts to your game app in Unity. What I have done is gone ahead and hidden the previous ones that I had in each scene. This way we can then create one together from scratch. So let's assume that in our case, I want to position the text here below. The first thing that I like to do is create a UI panel. This will be our text background and parent object. So right click in the hierarchy window, go to UI, then panel. Next, I'll resize the panel into a smaller rectangle at the bottom of the page. In the inspector, click on the rect transform and select the bottom left option. That positions it to the left of our next button. I can also change its color to a darker one and increase its alpha value so that it's less transparent. Now we can add our text object as a child of the panel. To do that, right click on the panel, select UI, then TextMesh Pro. Now at this point, I should mention that we have a legacy version, which is the old one, but what you want to use is this one called the TextMesh Pro. So add TextMesh Pro. With that added, go to the rect transform in the inspector and select the stretch option. That gives it the same size as its parent background panel. Next, we add some paddings to the left, right, top, and bottom. This is so that the text do not end up hugging the edges of the parent panel. I can then type in the text that I want. So obviously, I'll just copy and paste that one in. Here, I have the text for my story, The Hidden Quest, in this notepad. So I'll copy that off page 1, move that across, and then I'll paste it in here. And now I can start making changes to the text style. As you can see here, I can increase the font size to say 72. I can check this auto size box here. To see that in action, say I give this a size of 720, which obviously makes the text bigger than the text box. Now, when you check the auto size, it resizes the text to fit into the text box. Now that we know what that does, I'll resize the text back to 72 and I'll still check the auto size box. I always like to do this to avoid any text cutoffs across different device sizes because I'm usually building for mobile. I can obviously make this bold. I can increase the spacing. I can change the alignment amongst other properties in the inspector for TextMesh Pro. I can change the color if I want by clicking on the vertex color and changing it to yellow. But I prefer white, so I'll undo that. What I can also do is use something called tags. Tags allow you to apply certain changes to selected parts of your text. So for example, say I decide to make a selection bold, I'll deselect the previous bold button first. If I simply want to make this segment bold, a tag will suffice. Now tags are similar to HTML scripts, which we use for web development. So I'll type this in for the opening, and then this for the closing. That's it. You can see the text within the tags is now bold. I can also use a different tag for color. Say I want to change the color of these words to yellow. I'll type this at the start of the selection and also close the tag here. That's it. For now, we're keeping things simple, so I'll remove the tags. Let's save this and move on to page 2 to add its own text. On this page, we want to place the text at the bottom center in between the navigation buttons. I'll open up the canvas, right-click and select UI, then Panel. It adds the panel stretched out across the parent canvas. I'll rename it to Text Background Panel so the name makes it obvious what it's for. Now I can resize it. I'll bring it down here and adjust the left and right sides so it's not overlapping the navigation buttons. In the inspector's rect transform, I'll select bottom center to anchor it there. Rather than changing its color, I'll reduce its transparency. That way, a dark colored text will be more obvious. To add the text object as a child of the text background panel, right-click on the panel in the hierarchy, scroll down to UI and select TextMesh Pro. It adds it at its default size, so we'll realign the rect transform so it stretches to fill the parent panel. We can now add some paddings to give some spaces between the panel edges and the text box. Next, I'll copy the text narratives for page 2 and I'll paste it in here. I'll make it size 72 as I did previously and check the auto size option. I'll make it bold, but the white color isn't very obvious. Let's change the text background panel color to a darker color as we had with the previous one. I'll simply increase the alpha value until it's relatively darker so that it contrasts with the text color. So now the white text looks good on it. I'll also change the alignment for the text. Select the center and middle alignments. So that's page 2 complete. Make sure to save the scene. Next, we'll move on to page 3. So for page 3, we'll anchor the text at the top right corner and we'll repeat the same steps as the previous pages. Let's make the text blend in with the page. To do that, we'll reduce the transparency of the text background panel. Then we can change the text vertex color to black. That looks good. What else can we do? Let's try the different material presets we have by default. We could create ours, but that's beyond the scope of this video. So let's try out the different options to see. Now on to the last page. Here, we'll repeat the process as we had previously. You know the drill by now. Save and we can test it out. First, we'll go to the menu scene and run it from there. So here we go. You can see the text for page 3 blends in with the background. The same thing goes for page 4. It's a wrap. So that's how easy it is to add text to your Storybook app in Unity. Again, this is just adding only the text without doing anything more. If your text positioning is consistent across all pages, you could define the panel and the text in one page, then create a prefab from that. Then you can reuse the prefabs across the other pages. Now, if you want to learn about prefabs, just click the link in the description or up above. See you in the next video. Bye.